Okay, so the Cray Valley Sunday morning 2 metre net is now in full flow. It's 7 minutes past 10. Not many of us on. Okay, the running order is myself, M0 JCF, followed by Dave, M7 IPY, followed by Justin, G8 YTZ, followed by Frank, G0 FDP, and hanging on to the tails of the coat there is G6 NRH Dave. So I'll have a quick over then, I might as well, because I like the sound of my own voice. I enjoyed the club the club chat on Thursday, run by Dave G4BUO. He was talking ATUs. I think there was quite a bit of antenna chat as well. It wasn't just ATUs or aerial matching units as they should be called, I suppose. It wasn't just about that. It was also some chat about the various antennas, etc. It got a little bit technical for some people. I found it quite interesting. Very nice to see the amount of matches that were on show, old, new, homebrew, and very modern equipment, such as the Ellicraft one. Obviously that was probably one of the most modern there. A few homebrew ones and a few old school homebrew ones. Some of them were quite old as well, judging by the amount of dust that was in amongst them all. But yeah, it was very nice to see, and I had a wander around to that. I had a few bits for sale that came via G4NOW Dave. He gave me a big box of stuff while I'm looking at this Kenwood TS940S. It's got a raft of problems, but I said I'd have a look, and he gave me a big box of components and said, what do we do with these? So I bought a big stack of them down to the club, and I'd noticed a few things went. Hopefully people put their money in the coffee tin. It's all done on trust. I don't stand there saying, yeah, put a quid here, put a quid there. I just walk away from the table, and when I came back things were missing. I hope that the coffee tin was heavier. Human nature and all that. Radio wise, what else have I been doing? I actually did a video. It's on YouTube now. Dave G4NOW gave me a little ATS 20 plus. They're very common now. I've got the VFO version of the chipset. They're a little ubiquitous black box with a little OLED screen, Arduino powered. My one, you can use it as a receiver, but it's a VFO. It will put out a signal. Dave's one was purely the receiver version. I can't remember the chip number off the top of my head. It begins with SI, as they all do. It's a very, very common chip now, beloved by all the homebrewers. But yeah, I did a little review. I say a little review. It rambled on a bit, but just as I do. But he seemed to be very happy with that, so I stuck it on YouTube for him. And the next thing I'm going to do is look into software updates. Now, these radios, I've been seeing them for sale for quite some time now, and they range anything from about 30 quid up to triple figures, and they're all the same radio. So choose wisely if you want to buy one. Dave actually got his for less than 20 quid. Now, for less than 20 quid, I would be interested. For 30 quid upwards, I'm not that interested. I've got so many receivers. It's a fun little box. There's like the Quansheng UVK5. It's got lots and lots and lots of possibilities for the home brewer and the person who wants to mess around. 2 metre radio, spoke to Dave M7 IPY in the week. He was static over in Kent, over at Pole Hill or that direction, and I had a good 30-minute rag chew with him, so he could get an evaluation, I suppose, really, of his antenna system and that, while he's mobile on 2 metres. I mean, it's not the biggest distance in the world. And then HF, I've been doing my usual 10 metre band and chatting to people in the USA, etc. So that's it. Not really done a lot. Wind wise, we've had all of that wind, haven't we? I mean, I don't need to tell you that. It was more of an expression than a statement. But didn't lose any aerials, haven't bent any aerials. The long wires up, the colinears up, and the 10-metre band, the silver rod, 5/8 wave silver rod, isn't. I was expecting it to be curved, but you know, every winter I turn it round 180 degrees and it's S-shaped anyway. So I got a feeling that, you know, very soon it's going to be work hardened to the point the next wind won't bend it, it will snap it. But it's been up there some years now, since I was an M6 in 2017. So, and it was up there before then. So, you know, I think, you know, it's a testament to some of this cheaper stuff that actually works very well. But I didn't lose any fence panels, which was highly unusual, on account of me and my daughter's boyfriend, her partner. We put in a new fence this spring, and we did it properly. We concreted in the posts and everything, so that fence ain't going anywhere at the moment. But I did, the wind did turn my patio furniture. I had a lovely table with a smoked glass. It is now a jigsaw puzzle of 50,000 pieces because it's toughened glass. Anyway, I think I've said just about everything that I need to say regarding the week since our last 2-metre conversation. So it's round to Dave, M7IPY. Dave, you'll be passing it to Justin. Justin, you'll be passing it to Frank, FDP. And Frank, you'll be passing it round to G6NRH, Dave. And if you could just have a little bit of a pause there, Dave, just to see if we get any breakers, and I'll add them to the list. But it will be round to you, M7IPY, M0JCF in the group. There he is, G4 now. Okay, Dave, you're after G6NRH. Dave, you're passing it to Dave. Back to you, Beardy, M7IPY.
M7IPY, M0JCF, ran the other way, in the group. Morning all, morning Mark, morning Justin, morning Frank, morning Dave, morning Dave. Good week this week, been out mobile, as Mark alluded to. That was a nice sort of 30-minute, 40-minute unscheduled chat after I dropped Julie off to an interview for an art group that she wanted to get involved in. And they've accepted her, so it's a big thing for Julie, my wife. It's a textile art group, and they're they're good. They are seriously good, and they've accepted Julie into her group. Hence the reason I dropped her off to the interview, because she had a load of work, examples of her work and the stuff that she does. So I had to drop her off towards Orpington direction. And I thought, while I'm there, I'm going to drive to another high spot that I remember Trevor, M1TAD, mentioned years ago. Yeah, it probably was about 18 months ago, over near Pole Hill. So I went over there with the 2-metre dual bander in the back of the car and put out a CQ and out came our mark, which is great. I think, yeah, I'll put it on WhatsApp as well, letting them know that I'm out. But it was really good, and I think Dave, ZZK, also heard us over in, I think he's West Kingsdown, which isn't surprising because it's right across the valley, isn't it, from there, across the Down Valley. So that was a good day. But the day before that, I was out mobile again, and I worked Finland, Serbia, Latvia, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Russia, Italy, and then Italy again twice, and it was the same fella, David, IT9DGP. He's on the Isles of Scilly, I believe it is. I worked in 10 metres and 12 metres, so I got 2 confirmations from him, but it still only counts as 1 country, didn't it? So that was a really, really good afternoon. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I did the very last bit of the experimenting with the 2 antenna tuners, or matchers, as we're now going to call them, impedance matchers, after Thursday's brilliant meeting. That's one of my favourite meetings so far, that technical social. But I finished the last bit of experimentation, and Bob very kindly published a little thing that I wrote for QUA. So it's been a really good radio week, actually. Lots more things to say, but I'm going to keep this one a bit shorter. I'm going to pass this round now to our Justin. So G8YTZ, taking it from myself, M7IPY in the group.
morning once again to the new joiners, G8YTZ. And what have I been up to? Busy, of course, as usual. A busy week this week as well. I've got to get all my electronics out of the dining room to people. So we're ready for Christmas, and I've done quite a bit of it. There's a few more bits to do. I had a mad panic, actually, believe it or not. I had a mad panic because I was thought I'd lost a box of components which were critical, some special components for my Revox restore, which I haven't started yet. I've done all the reading, but I haven't actually started doing it. That's going to be a Christmas project, but Julie was shifting things around. It put a box in another box, and anyway, I found it and recovered it, so a little bit of a panic now. I think, oh no, don't tell me and throw them out or something. It's actually about 400 quid worth of components, because some of them are really specialist ones, like the multiple capacitors for the motors, etc. And basically the job is a complete recap. It's a motor overhaul and replacing all the skeleton presets. That's it. I don't think there are any transistors that need replacing, but there are some spare transistors in there. Had a good evening, Thursday evening, met my old friends from my teenage days of radio, if you know what I mean. And we had a good pub evening. Julie went down at the Alien's Head, Elaine's Head in Dulwich, where we meet usually on Friday. But we didn't do the Friday, we did the Thursday instead. Because actually Thursday's a better day anyway, because we can get this 25% discount off Octopus. But anyway, I used my voucher, and I had little presents for everyone as well. It was quite funny actually, because you know, you all start in radio playing with things like Josty kits, if you remember Josty kits. And I bought a load of Chinese Josty kits off AliExpress. They're like £1.16 plus VAT each, so they're cheaper than a stem, you know. But and there's a PC board, all the parts, and it seems to be quite well designed actually. I'm quite impressed with the whole thing. So everyone got one of those, and I printed out the board layout and circuit diagram and everything, so they had everything needed to make it, and the board's silk screened as well. But that brought a lot of chuckle. It's really taking you back to your teenage days. There's one or two people who've never actually done that, but it was most amusing. On Saturday, I was at the NRC, of course. Very slow day, because it was, you know, wind and rain. Not many people thought, oh, that's a nice day to go to Bletchley Park. Actually, it's an ideal day, because you're mostly inside. So we didn't get to. It was the weakest Saturday I've ever seen, but hardly surprising. But it meant people had longer time to dwell and chat about things. So really, and we had a couple of American amateurs came in and say, hello, I'm W Whiskey, got to live, you know. And when their wives wives had a, oh yeah, he's Radio Shack, oh he's Aerials, oh. It's quite amusing, and so we had a good time was had by all. Anyway, despite the relatively low turnout, but I'd say hardly surprising if you consider the weather. But you know, probably a fifth of what we get on a good day. So, but nevertheless, it was an enjoyable day. So there we go. That's what I've, well, some of the things I've been up to. I'll tell you about the other things I've been up to. And I'll tell you about my little lucky escape in terms of a road closure as well. I'm not going up Saturday, but I'll hand it over next time. Anyway, so frankly, this is G8YTZ.
Okay, Justin, G8YTZ from G0FDP this morning on the 2 metre Sunday morning net run by M0JCF. Well done, Mark, for running the net. Dave, where you been? You've been late this morning. That's probably why Mark's doing it for you. Okay, right, now, Dave the bass, did you go up to the Ridgeway at all when we were talking about where it was? Because that's quite a good site to go to, but it's not just round the corner. It's a little bit way down into the Surrey area. But maybe you did, or maybe you haven't been that way yet. But you've been, obviously, to Pole Hill and round that way, so that's no problem either. Right. Now, I've been busy these last few days. Talk about bleeding Christmas cards, writing cards out. I wrote 13 cards out and posted them with second class stamps because the bloody first class stamps are so expensive. And I've been wrapping up parcels for my granddaughters and my grandchildren and everything so far at the moment. And I've got round to the point of they're all done at the moment until I get some more. But there we are. Right. Right now, Thursday evenings talk about the aerial tuning units and that sort of thing. Well, I didn't bring mine, but I've got one here sitting in front of me now. It's an MFJ tuner. It's quite a... I've had it a few years now. It's a manual one for tuning up, and a Welch SWR power meter, which you can either have on the high bands or the low bands, whichever switch you put it on, and then you can just tune up practically any aerials you've got. On the high band, I usually tune up for the G5RB, and they do recommend, or they have said years ago, that if you over the ladder line, fold them to both together at the end, you can use it as a larger antenna for 160. But talking to Laurie, he says he's done it, but it don't work. Well, I haven't done it, so it don't matter about that to me anyway. But it works okay. It works all. I can work it on the G5RB without actually extending the antenna itself with the MJF and the Welch power meter. I can get it down to about 1.5 to 1.2 on the 160 band, so it's not too bad. It's not good, but it's not perfectly good. That's the only thing about it. But there we are. That's how it seems to work with me. Talking about little aerial tuners, I've got an old aerial tuner here. I must have had it when I first got made an amateur. It's what's called a VHF tuning unit, and it's by EMP CON Systems Limited. 145 megahertz. That's all. It's only for 2 meters. I've had it such a long time. Mind you, I bought it many years ago from Bledhurst, and it cost me bloody £45 then, this thing did. So it just shows you how much it was in them days. Probably get it for nothing now. So that's what I've been doing now. And as for the weather, well, you all know what the weather's like. It's been pretty miserable, isn't it? Wet, windy, and damn cold at the moment. Anyway, I'll hand it now over to Dave. Dave, not Dave the bass. This is the other Dave, NLH Dave. Dave, you've got a bit of a croaky voice this morning with the sound of it, so be careful. Don't catch a cold with it or anything like that. As I've got to go again for another blood test tomorrow. And hopefully it's not possibly raining. Because I haven't been out on my scooter yet when it's been raining, but we'll find out. It's raining today, but hopefully not tomorrow. Right, back over to you then, Dave. G6NRH, over to you from G0FDP.
G0FDP, G6NRH, returning with a very slight gap here. Apologies for being late this morning. No excuses. I just completely overslept. I just checked my watch. It was about 6 o'clock. I first looked, and the next thing I looked, it was about 10:05. I thought, what the hell is going on here? Completely overslept. Oh dear. Yeah, it's nice to be back in the land of the living, and it's really nice. Thanks to everybody that's commented, wondering how I'm getting on. But I'm still here and still sort of struggling. But everything seems to be sorting itself out. I can't wait for the dinner on Wednesday, but I've also got a dinner on Tuesday for the North Kent, which I'm looking forward to. But that's going to be a curry dinner. We're going to the restaurant down in where is it? It's not Belvedere, is it? It's I can't remember where exactly it is now. But it'll be going down there at 7:30 and getting in touch with the other lads and see how it's going. Yeah, it's nice to hear you, Dave. You're doing really well. By the way, everybody's all 5 and 9, cracking signals as usual. Yeah, Mark, fantastic, mate. Thanks for running in there for me. And Dave, yeah, of course, dear, you've been all over the place for M7IPY. You are doing exceedingly well, working all these exotic stations. I'd take my hat off to you, mate, and especially in this weather condition, to go mobile. Not my idea of fun, to be honest. I think I'm like a fisherman. I'm more of a sort of warm weather fisherman. So I'm a warm weather radio operator. But no, everyone's sounding really great. And Justin, I know you're working hard down there at wherever you are. Down at God, I keep thinking it's Blackheath. It's not, is it? It's Birmingham. Oh, God, you must be nearly finished now. I bet you'd be glad to get that sorted. Once it's all done, I bet the place is going to be like a little mini palace. Anyway, congrats on that. We had a bit of luck that our alarm system has been off for must be about 2-3 months, and didn't realise that when we changed the internet connections, didn't realise they hadn't sorted out the alarm. And Julie, being Julie, didn't like the idea of putting Christmas trees and all the decorations up. Because there's been quite a few break-ins without having some kind of alarm system. So old Ben came round, spent about 10 minutes sorting it all out for me, and it's now working. So now back to full strength for the alarm system. Oh dear, I mean it's a common problem, i.e. mainly batteries, and then trying to reset it and generally playing about with it. But just glad that it's now working and everything's now on the up and up. With that, I won't hold it. I'll quickly pass it over now to Dave. G4 NOW Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
6NRH G4 NOW. Good evening. Good morning, all. I'm a bit avant. You're all 5 and 9. Great signals, and good to hear you all. Well, it's still blowing out. I can see my doublets hooked over one of the top tree branches. I'm going to have to go out to get that off. But so far it's survived. But I was due to go out today to Eel Pie Island of Rolling Stones fame. There's an artist commune. Julie and I were going to go around the galleries there and have lunch in the Barmy Arms, that nice pub at Twickenham. But with 50-knot gusts, 3 degrees air temperature, or feels like air temperature, and 95% rain. We gave it a miss anyway. Yes, I heard Mark. Yeah, thanks Mark for running the net. Thank you for looking at this TS940S. The story is it's from a mutual friend of Justin and myself, the Reverend Father Stephen. He's been given it. The idea is to try and sell it and raise a bit of money for Cray Valley. But I'll let Mark tell you what he's found. And thanks Mark for looking at the ATS 20 Plus, this small radio, which is a bit like a Quancheng, but it's sort of all singing, all dancing, FM, long wave, medium wave, short wave, FMA, everything, all for about 20 quid. So fabulous. Mark's done a fabulous video on it, much better than Fred in the Shed, the guy that does the intrusion. So well done there. And also well done Dave for doing Dave IPY. Your enthusiasm is no bounds. I think when you go into amateur radio, a lot of us sort of experience what you've experienced, the wonder of talking to people all over the place, and you're doing a great job. Really well done. Justin, your readbox reminds me that sounds a pretty good job. But Guy, I don't know if you know, Guy's been doing the Radio Caroline Ampeg, and he's got a sequence of videos, the Ampeg recorder, which was removed from the Amigo. Guy's got it going beautifully, and it's apparently goes back there to their museum section. So there's everybody doing all sorts of great things. Frank, don't blame me about stamps. I went to the post office the other day and bought 4 stamps. You remember you used to go and buy sheets of second class? I mean, you need a mortgage now to buy just so many stamps. Dave H., good to have you back in the land of the living. I hope you get better, and good news, you're on the mend there. Apart from the wind here, I enjoyed the ATU evening. That was very, very interesting, and I learned again quite a lot about this, and I'm fascinated with the array of things that turned up there. There What's a 4 metre net?
I think Dave may have timed out, or he might.
I know Frank was on, and so that was quite interesting. Okay, last thing, anybody wants to do the CW Academy, 2 more days left to enrol. The CW Academy have sent me a list of all the people in the UK who've enrolled. I can recognise 7 or 8 Cray Valley members, but I'm trying to get in touch with Dave and Kieran because they know the full list of who's who. So anyway, now's your chance. If you want to improve your models, you've got it now. Anyway, back to you, Mark, at the top. M0JCF, G4 now with a break for, I guess, anybody else.
G4NOWM0JCF. Yeah, I left that break, left that gap, and no one broke in. But nice to hear everyone, and reports. Well, everyone's everything. It's 2 meters. We're all relatively local, and I think Dave NOW, for instance, you're plus 60. Dave NRH plus 60. Frank plus 60. Then you got Justin and Dave, Beardy Dave. You're both sort of plus 9+. I'm using the FT-736R again today, and I'm using the colinear on the roof. Just a few comments really based on what everyone said. Dave IPY, yeah, your IT9, you said the Scilly Isles. No, that's off of Cornwall, isn't it? What you've got was Sicily Islands down there at the toe of Italy. And yes, it is Italy, but I believe if you want to start logging these down, because it's quite amazing how many you'll find yourself logging. IOTA, Islands on the Air. I think you'll find Sicily has got its own IOTA number. So, you know, put that in your logbook and start collecting IOTA numbers. Now, I don't collect them because I don't collect anything anymore as such. Same as Worked All Britain, you know, I belong to the club, I've got their book, but I don't really actively collect for any awards or anything. I just, there's a WAB. I've remembered to ask him his WAB square. And the same with the IOTA. You know, if I hear somebody and I think, oh, that's an island, I do ask their IOTA number, but you can normally find it in QRZ anyway. So another consideration there, another little thing that you can do when you're working these places. It's like when you work Greece and you work all of the Greek islands, they all come up as Greece, except Rhodes Island comes up as Dodecanese or whatever it is. Did I pronounce that right? So that's a weird one. It gives you a new DXCC, but of course Rhodes is off the coast of Turkey and it's Greek, so you know, make of it what you will. And you know, it's a new DXCC anyway. Justin Josty kits, yeah, you're taking me back there. It must have been mid-70s, 75, 76. There was a shop down in Plumstead that used to sell Josty kits. Now, way back then, my mum had just bought a Philips stereo record player. Now, you know, we'd only ever had a mono record player, and then she bought this Philips stereo, and it was slimline, it was modern, had separate bass and treble controls rather than just tone and volume, and that's all it was though. It was a record player, but it had a 5-pin DIN on the back, and we'd worked out, you know, we could plug a Philips cassette player, and everyone knows this. I can't think of the number, but Justin, you will. The Philips cassette player, where it had a rectangular knob at the top in the middle, and you push it down to play, you press down and a red button for record, and you had a separate hand microphone. And then when you wanted to fast forward and rewind, that rectangular button in its neutral position, you pushed it left or right. I'm sure you know the model number, but we had one of them, 5-pin DIN cable, and we could play the cassette player for it. And that got me thinking, you know, you could feed any signal into that. So Josty Kits, they did an FM tuner, stereo tuner kit. And you know what? 1976 or whatever it was, this shop down in Plumstead, it took all of my paper round money for several months to buy this Josty kit, and it came with an FM pre-assembled FM module, but the rest of the PCB you had to assemble. So of course, you know, it took me a couple of days to solder all that in. I then got myself a 5-pin DIN cable, which I cut one end off. I then soldered the wires onto the other end. At the kit end, sorry, and then I plugged it in, and bam, for the first time ever in my life, we had stereo VHF radio, and my mum was astounded. And that's pretty much, I mean, you know, I was obviously already into shortwave listening, building crystal sets and that, but this is the first time that I'd built something big and major for the family to use. And yeah, and I remember the only drawback on those first few days of listening was I was using a PP3 battery. And of course, as the battery voltage dropped, because they were only zinc carbon then, as the battery voltage dropped, the radio drifted. So it would drift into a hiss. So the hiss would gradually build up as the battery voltage dropped. And that drove my mum nuts. So it took me a while to build a power supply. And that's when I discovered regulated power supplies, etc. Now, magazine said you must use a regulated power supply. Because back then, yeah, power supply, I just wanted something that produced 9 volts. But of course, and I knew I had to get rid of Ripple, I knew I had to get rid of hum and that, but that's when I discovered, oh, actually, you could use a 15 volts and a regulating transistors, and, you know, you could have something that would stick on 9 volts all day long, weeks on end. So that was my foray into Josty kits. And do you know what? I haven't heard someone say Josty kits for getting on for 50 years. Absolutely amazing. But I don't know, I can't remember the name of the shop down in Plumstead. And then SWR, Frank, you mentioned about SWR and getting the SWR down. You know, anything under 3 for me is fine. The SWR of 3, reflection is 25%, isn't it? So you've lost 25%, but I'm still a little bit confused, maybe because I haven't really read up on it. I've been a bit lazy, but you know, that reflected power is actually reflecting all the time. So although you're reflecting, say, 25% of your power back to the radio, it then reflects again. That 25% doesn't sit in your between the feed point and the radio. It's still being radiated. So I've never really got my head around that one. I'll be honest, I haven't given it a lot of thought above and beyond what I've just said to you lot out there. So that gives you an idea. And then we've covered the weather, and we've covered Dave, and we've covered the meeting, etc. I don't think I've got any more comments. So round to you, Dave, the bass beardy hippie boy. M7 IPY M0 JCF in the Cray Valley, Sunday 2 metre net.
M0 JCF M7 IPY in the group. Returning. But yeah, thanks for the reminder about the Isles of Sicily being different from the Sicily Islands. Yeah, I was never very good at geography. You can probably tell, can't you? And the ham radio was helping. Ian, JMM, said that, yeah, ham radio certainly improves your geography because you know where all the countries are then. And I'm very, very poorly travelled. So I don't know my way around the world whatsoever. England, good, which leads nicely to the Ridgeway. That's what threw Frank, FDP. Yeah, you and Peter were talking about high spots in Kent, sort of like, you know, Sussex border. Yeah, the Ridgeway threw me out. It's actually called the Ridge as opposed to Ridgeway, and it's near Woldingham. Not far, yeah, sort of Tatsfield, Titsey, that area, just inside the M25. I know exactly where you mean, because there's a motorcycle outfitters that sells lots of sort of, it's called Helmet City. I guess it's still there, which is just up there at Tatsfield. That's on the list of places to visit, so thanks for reminding me about that one. Right, you keep said about joystick kits, I keep thinking the nearest I got to that is joysticks, but that's more the hippie background. So joystick kits, never heard of them. However, you and Justin are reminiscing about Philips cassette recorders. The one you're thinking of, I believe, is the N2205. Now, I used to repair gazillions of those in the first workshop I ever worked in, which was the same workshop that used to repair the radios that our Frank used to use in the London Ambulance Service. I was employed as an audiovisual technician, and we did loads of those N2202s, and all that range, there was a load of them, and I'm trying to look them up now, because, oh yeah, the 2225, that was particularly lovely. I remember that one sound-wise. These were all standard reference or issue for the schools. The Inner London Education Authority used to specify certain brands that they were allowed to buy, and in return we would support them. So in other words, when they got hurled across their classroom by an angsty youth, they would come back to our workshop in a carrier bag, and we'd have to repair them. And we carried loads of spares for these. I mean, like an entire warehouse full of audio, video, and radio, which I said before, I never got involved in the radio side. The other one that we worked on was the N2215, which was slightly later, which is late 70s, early 80s. They had an amazingly rich sound, and so yeah, we paired loads and loads of those in the very early 80s when I started off in an audiovisual workshop. Thanks for the praise about going out mobile. I thoroughly enjoy it, as you can tell. I'm going, I doubt if I'm going to be out again this week, but it was mooted that myself and G4JMM, Ian, go out mobile, because he's got a lot of VHF, UHF gear, which might be interesting, setting up and firing that across the North Sea, up towards Norway and Holland and other European countries. I haven't got my map in front of me at the moment. Let's see what we can do there. Bletchley Park, that's on the list as well. I've never been to the National Radio Centre, and I think myself and Judy might have to go for a day out to the Midlands. It's Milton Keynes direction, I think, isn't it, where the RSGB are based. I've never been there, and that's on the list. I'd love to see that, and the touring Enigma machines and that. I've never ever been up there, but that's on the list of things to visit. Also on the list is at the back end of the talk that we had on Thursday, I've discovered random wire antennas, and reading up on unums and balance and this, I've incorrectly made my dipole. I haven't got a balun, although it does match pretty well on the 7 megs 40 meters band. I now have, thanks to our Richard GAITB, he's given me a balun a couple of months back to actually install. And a choke that I fit near, a common mode choke that you fit very close to the transceiver, apparently. So I've got lots more playing to be doing, and I want to do a dipole nest, which I've now found is also known as a fan dipole, to get on different bands. So there's lots of experimenting to do. Time out, but not when it's not in this weather. Time out, so I'm going to pass it round to our Frank now. So G0, no, that's not his finger, it's round to our Justin. G8YTZ from M7IPY.
Yeah, G8YTZ. Yeah, the joystick kit thing, yeah, you can imagine it brought quite a few things back. I can relate to that story about the tuner as well, because when Capital Radio started, I was 13, and I wanted to hear Kenny Everett in stereo. And I bought a Jason Kits valve tuner. Now, where did I get that from? That was about 74. I'll tell you where I got that from. I bought it at a Radio Club auction in Eltham. And it was Dave, wasn't it, the auctioneer back in those days, and now I bought this thing at a few quid and took it home, and I bought a PC board and components from Maplin to build an MC3010P based Motorola chip stereo decoder, and I built this thing. I modified the tuner, so I had took the pre-emphasis out, and it was the tuner itself was in a bedside table connected to an antenna in the loft with a rotator, so I could hear all the different stations. I could rotate the antenna around, and I fed the wideband output of a tuner, the modulated output without the pre-emphasis, on the coax over to the other side of my room, which I had the stereo decoder in a box, and I was able to listen to Capital in stereo, and I recorded a lot actually on my reel-to-reel. That's the other thing I built. Before that, actually, I built a reel-to-reel stereo tape recorder based on the Monarch design, which was published in, I think it was April '71, Practical Wireless. That was then. I built two 7-8 stereo, linked the oscillators, the bias oscillators together. And you mentioned the Philips machine. The one you're probably talking about, the most common one, was the EL3302, and I've got one here. A real minter actually. And there was a 3301 before it, which was launched in the late 60s. The 3302 basically had an improved stabilized motor system. As you know, I had to get a couple of OC transistors to replace in my one. And anyhow, cut a long story short, those EL3302s were superb quality, and there were a couple of secret sources. Firstly was the motor stabilization, so they had good torque, and the motor speed was constant. You're not depending so much on the battery, if you know what I mean. And then the other secret source, apart from the DIN input-output, which was very useful, the other secret source of them, they had AC bias, which was, a lot of these cassette machines had, the cheap ones, had a DC bias, which sounds awful, distorted, noisy, heard in the background all the time. A lot of them were like that, sharp and mates like that, they're all like that. And the other part of the secret sauce, good transport, you had good motor speed control, you had also a very good record replay head, and they were able to reproduce frequencies up to 10 kilohertz without any problem at all. And the audio quality of them was really excellent. You put them through a hi-fi system, they sounded really good. Probably the only criticism, probably a little tiny bit of motor noise, and those machines were the standard machine used by all the pirate radio stations, Radio Jackie and what have you. And as long as you earth the transmitter well on AM, then you wouldn't get RF feedback into the machine. There were actually two main versions. One that had germanium transistors initially, and then they moved to silicon transistors. There was a difference there. The motor control board always stays with germanium transistors on both models. But yeah, I've got an absolute minter here. The microphone's never been used on its plastic packet. And it's got its case. And of course the case of that machine, you might well remember from the tricorder in Star Trek. If you look at their old Star Treks with Dr. McCoy scanning for life, you'll see actually what they're using as a 3302 leather case. So probably the micro, and I can't quite remember, but if you look back at that, you'll recognise it. Yeah, they're excellent machines for their day, and a little bit of history. I've got a few tape machines. I've got my Denon DRM 710 3-motor 3-head Dolby HX Pro machine, which is a superb cassette machine. One of the best ever made. I think it's better than a Nakamichi's. When I was buying, I looked at the Nakamichi as well, but the Denon I felt was better. It certainly proved to be very reliable. The only thing I've ever replaced in it is the drive belts. The one that goes is the one that pulls the head mechanism into the machine and operates as a mute switch, which is operated by a reed switch. And if the head's not pulling fully, the mute switch doesn't operate, and result fixes the no audio problem. That's a no. Across all the denim machines do that. They're very, very easy fix, as you can imagine. And they're very well made inside. You open an eye wire, it's full of wires and bits of boards and bodges on the back of the board and things. Oh goodness, I'm glad I didn't buy an eye wire. And now I've seen those on a couple of YouTube channels being fixed. Mend It Mark, actually. If you've never seen the YouTube channel Mend It Mark, you have to watch it. This guy is an absolute electronics expert. It's all second nature to him. He's absolutely superb and a great presenter. He takes you through fixing various awkward bits of audio and other electronics equipment, and he is absolutely incredible. His knowledge and his speed, very experienced guy. He's got a great workshop and all the right kit, of course, which helps. But no, he's very bright, this guy. What else indeed? Birmingham, yeah, it's coming on. No, not finished yet, my goodness. There's still the same amount to do. It's going a bit slowly at the minute because of the weather affecting the re-roofing, but a large amount's been done. I imagine, I'm guessing probably the rear slopes and the rear addition roof is all but, well, certainly tile, all but finished. But there's other things that come across. We had to replace part of the wall plate. We had to, we put in a roof window in what's going to be the bathroom, and I put wall straps in as well. That's one of the things I did a while back. They're all connected to the wall plate now. And there's other things like, for example, there's no up in the loft area. There are bricks missing in the party walls, and where on the back addition the party wall doesn't go up to the ridge. So obviously we want to fix that as well for fire protection from the next door house. So yeah, there's still quite a few things going on there. And the next stage will be doing the bathroom and the kitchen alterations as well. I'm also really, really unhappy with the structural engineer. Hasn't done a proper job as well. Specified wrong components, assumed cavity walls when it's not, and things like that. So it's a real shocking job of the structural engineer. I've lost confidence. I'm writing this week demanding my money back, and we're going to use someone else instead. There we go. Just normal sort of project management things going on there. Monday night we're going to see AO at the Jazz Cafe in Camden, which I'm looking forward to. And I also managed to get tickets for Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox at the Royal Albert Hall in April 23rd, if I remember right. Really, that should be a really good show if you like, Scott Bradley's music, and I think that's not to be missed. And the Royal Albert Hall is always a bit special anyway, so there's another one. Right, I'll hand it round over to you, Frank. G8YTZ.
Okay there, Justin, thank you very much. G8YTZ from G0FDP, yep. Oh, you're a busy lad up there in Birmingham, aren't you? I don't know. Mind you, the weather at the moment is obviously curtailed. A few odd jobs that you can do outside, which is a bit awkward at the moment, especially with roof problems, yes. Okay, and hopefully with plenty of time to go, you'll be able to finish it off in hopefully before Christmas maybe, but you never know. We'll see how it goes with the weather, because at the moment it's terrible, isn't it? Right, now you've been talking about video recorders. Well, I've got a video recorder. I haven't used it for some while at the moment, but it's the video recorder will take the old VHS tapes. Obviously, the small ones, I've got a conversion tape, which you put the video, the smaller version video tape inside it and plug it into the machine itself. It also has a hard drive, which you can actually record from the video tape, the VHS tape, to a hard drive, or you can actually record it straight to a disc. So it works out quite well. But I haven't used it for some time now, but it's all right doing it, but you have to spend a fair bit of time keeping an eye on what's going on and how to do it, and when it's sort of recording, when it's finished and all that, take it out and change it over and put another video inside the machine itself. But it's still there. I haven't used it, as I say, for some time now. But it's one of them things I've got because I know, I used to have a video recorder, but I know the older ones are not so good, but this one can do everything. Videotapes, discs, and hard drive at the same time, all in the one box, which makes it very, very versatile to be able to use it. And I have to say, I haven't used it for some while now, but I did use it on occasion when I wanted to copy something from a VHS to a disc, which is handy, so that you can also, rather than taking the video, VHS tape here, you can put the disc away, and it's a lot easier to put in a disc machine and work it that way. Right, I won't hold too long, because it's now 2 minutes nearly to 11, and who have we got next? G6NRH. Over to you, Dave, from G0FTP.
G0FTP, G6NRH, and a very slight pause. Yeah, all copied there, Frank. Yeah, God, yeah. Talking about record players and everything else, I mean, I remember, many years ago, the first record player that we got, it wasn't anything spectacular. Well, I suppose for me it was the Ultra. I forget who made the thing, but it was a commercial little mono radio, and it had a curved screen, and you had all your controls on the right-hand side, the little chrome buttons, and it had the ability that you could actually add a preamp, which they did as a separate unit to the other side. So it would balance it up, and it had the same curved design, and it was fantastic. Well, we had it as a mono one for a few years until we saw one of these things came up on the market, and we bought it. And then sort of plugged it in. But the difference was amazing. When you're listening to mono all the time, then you have this switch it on to that, and you can hear everything in stereo. It made the world totally different. You know, it was like, if you plug in headphones, you suddenly realise that you're not listening to a true sound, and then you listen to the headphones, and it's just amazing. It was really good. I love that machine. I don't know what happened to it. And I was also thinking about, funny enough, when I was in hospital, my sister came round and we just got talking about the past, as you usually do. And she said, you know Kelvin, my twin brother, what was the first record he bought? I said, I'm not sure. Apparently it was a thing called Kite by Simon Dupree, which was, I think, released in the early 60s. And I've been playing it, and you know, it's one of these songs that it's like an earworm. You get it in your head, and you just can't get rid of it. And it's been fantastic just to listen and go back. I just wonder what the rest of you, what was your first albums or first record that you bought with your own money? It'd be interesting before we close the net down. With that, quickly pass it over to you, Dave. G4 NOW Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
My first record was Blowing in the Wind by Peter, Paul and Mary. I saw a programme about them the other day, and they were very, very influential. Gosh, was I trendy. Yes, thanks very much for that. Quickly go, because the time is running out. It's about fascinating listening to all of you. I have to confess, I just did a few crystal sets, etc. To Dave Hippie, yes, Scilly Isles, not to be confused. I tell you, I've had two great trips to the Scilly Isles, both times when Cray Valley were operating down there, islands on the air. And I tell you, I cannot but recommend it as a fabulous place to go on holiday. You can go there and pretend what's happened to Britain has not actually happened. You can go back sort of 25, 30 years. I'm going to tell you, I read an article about somebody describing all the things that are going wrong in Britain and around the world generally. It's a bit of a rude word. It's called shitification. Anyway, I better not say it again, but it's a wonderful, onomatopoeic word that describes everything. So Scilly Isles, tick that one. Justin Nakamichi, there's a brand to conjure with. I don't know much about them. We'll have a private talk, I think, about Nakamichi. But Justin, your fabulous Garrod 301, somebody's trying to get about £3,000 for a 301 on Marketplace. So hang on to it. It's better than a pension investment. The old Garrod decks, you can't beat them. Have I got anything more to say? Not really. I look forward to Mark's Plus, do look out for his wonderful review on YouTube. I won't be at the dinner this week, but I will be at the drinks buffet at the Park Tavern. So if I don't see you before, I'll wish you season's greetings, and I'll pass it back to the master at the top, M0 JTF. This is G4 now, all but gone.
Yeah, G4 now, M0 JCF. For my final, yes, it's gone 11 o'clock. Anyone who wants to carry on, please do so. There's no reason to close the net just because the net runs for an hour. You know, it's not like 2 meters is overcrowded these days, and we're hogging it. But travel wise, Dave, you said, you know, you've only traveled UK and not traveled worldwide. I'm very, very fortunate. I have traveled worldwide. I've done, if we go to the other side of the world, I've done New Zealand, both islands, top to bottom, left to right, and every site you can see. That took a month of driving around those 2 islands. I've also done the whole of Australia, and I mean the whole of Australia. I've driven around the #1 Bruce Highway. I drove 26,000 kilometres in 4.5 months, including the roads inland and back out of the outside of the #1 highway. I went to Australia with a mate, and we bought a camper van in Sydney, and we decided, you know, if we're going to come here all this way, we need to see all of it, and we did. I never want to go back. I didn't go to Tasmania though, so when I say all, there's a little bit of a white lie there. I did not see Tasmania. And yes, Justin, I do know the case that you're on about on that tape player. Yeah, you're right about the tricorder thing. And I remember as a kid being told off by my mum that you know, I was using it. I was using the thing as a tricorder, playing games with me mates. Luckily, I never took it out of the house, but I think it probably did get bounced once or twice. And I won't harp on any more about that. YouTube, yes, I have got a YouTube channel. If you just look at M0JCF ham radio, you'll find basically I started it as a repository to save all of the videos that I was making. I was sort of keeping like an audio visual logbook, as it were, when I first started ham, and I was running out of hard drive space and that, so I started, you know, sticking them on YouTube just for storage. Freebie storage, and I started getting subscribers. I think I'm running just under 2,000 subscribers now. There's about 750, 800 videos on there. So yeah, I'm quite happy to do these little reviews, and you'll find one of the latest videos there is the one Dave asked me to do. So if you want to check it out, please do. I don't ask you to subscribe. I don't ask you to click the little notification bell and all that. It's not monetized. I've never monetized it. Maybe I should now. Some of those videos are getting tens and tens of thousands of views. But yeah, I haven't commercialized it, so there will be adverts there. That's YouTube, I suppose, getting their money's worth of me using their platform as storage space. I think that's just about it. I will say thank you to everyone who joined today. There was, what, 6 or 7 of us in the group. I have made a video of this one. Unless there's objections, it will go onto YouTube sometime this morning. After I've reduced its file size and then uploaded it. Interesting, if I can go off on a tangent before saying goodbye, talking of videos, I downloaded a video yesterday. It's from 1970. It's a California based video about ham radio, and of course you've got all these youngsters in it all using all this classic old gear, and I was listening to the call signs, and I don't know if you've ever done it. I watch, you know, classic shows like the Sweeney, the Professionals, Minder, whatever, and every time I see like at a street scene, and there's all these cars, and you suddenly get the number plate, and you go into the vehicle registration on the internet, do vehicle tax, vehicle MOT. Some of them don't come up. But some of them you can find out when they were last taxed, if they're sawned and things like that, and and it might say not been taxed since 1988, and so I did this with this video, and it was quite interesting. You put in the call signs in QRZ, and some of these people from 1970 in this video were still around, but the opening person, this young girl who was in it, her name's Charlene something or other, Whiskey Bravo 6. They're all sixes because they're California. Unfortunately, she's silent key. A few of them never came up in the search, but there's a Mexican one and a few of them, most of them out of California. They're still alive. Well, I'm assuming alive and kicking. I say Charlene, she, the girl at the very beginning of the video, she's unfortunately now silent key, and it says so in QRZ. I think it was last updated around 2019, and I started wondering, was it COVID or is it just age? Could have been a multitude of things we don't know, and I don't know that we should ponder too far into it. But what I'll do is I'll post up that video, and you can all do it yourself if you want to play that little game. For me saying goodbye, that was quite a long over, and apologies for that, because it means that those of you in the queue have now had to listen to me rabbiting on. But I will not be coming back. I will just close down the net at the end of when Dave NOW said his goodbyes. Oh, records, Dave. There were many records preceded my first personal record, but my first personal album that I ever bought or had bought for me, probably for my birthday, was David Bowie's Space Oddity, the actual album. I got that. That was my first personal album, although there were many albums I could quote before that I used to listen to. That would have been my mum's, my granddad's, that sort of thing, and I probably listened to more Cliff Richard than I probably would have done any other time. And Johnny Mathis, my mum personally knows Johnny Mathis, which is a strange thing, and so I listen to a lot of Johnny Mathis, but I wouldn't necessarily have actively gone out and bought Johnny Mathis. Anyway, apologies for that. I've rambled on. So as I say, no more from me today. We'll just go through the list now. M7IPY to take from M0JCF in the Cray Valley, Sunday 2 metre net.
Mike 7 IPY, just getting ready to say 73s. Excellent reminiscent. A very, very quick quip about Radio Jackie that Justin mentioned. In this workshop that I used to repair cassette recorders in and audio visual equipment was one James Kingman. He was an apprentice. He had yet to do his City and Guilds at the time. He is a Radio Jackie DJ, better known as Jimmy King. He used to do the pre-match spin with Jimmy King. I think it was some football ground in South London, but I knew him from Radio Jackie. It was very interesting. That first ever record I ever bought album was Everyone Plays Darts by the Darts, very late 70s doo-wop revival band. That was my first ever one. But I had a cousin who was a DJ who used to give me records that he had doubles of that he was sent. So I had lots of records before that, the best of which was Hot Love by Felix. Passing it over for a quick goodbye from Justin, G8YTZ now.
Yeah, G8YTZ, well, that's some of the guys I was with Thursday evening at Julie. We have a good laugh, old times and all that kind of stuff. And what have you, and what else I've been up to, wait for another time. I'll see you all on, is it Thursday? I can't remember, the Christmas dinner as well. I was a bit late booking that because I hadn't read my QUA. Oh, yeah, stand in the corner for that one. But I'm there. Kieran's popped me in a minute, so I will see everyone. Looking forward to that. I think I'll probably fancy a drink, so I'll get myself an Uber, I think. If anyone's going my way, I won't take the car up there. I'll just get myself an Uber and then have a little drink. etc. Normally I have a little drink because Julie's riding back. That's the usual because she doesn't drink, so that's why I chose her for my wife. Anyway, only joking. She's absolutely lovely, that girl. She really is. She's working all day today at the with the Petswood Memorial Hall, doing stuff. Got several people in today. And of course, the other thing I'm working on is the flat. But hey, there's loads going on in my life at the minute. And my dad puts demands on me. My daughter puts demands on me, and there's not that much just in time at the minute. But we'll get over that, I'm sure. All the best, everyone. Nice chatting. G8 YTZ out.
Yep, okay there, Justin. G8 YTZ, G0FTP, just finally saying yes. Don't go on Thursday, Justin, because you'll miss it. It's actually on Wednesday, the 11th, okay? And hopefully we'll see you there, and they will all enjoy a good Christmas party, which we normally always do for the Radio Club, run by Kieran. Well done. I should say 73s and pass it now on to G6NRH.
G0 Foxtrot Tower Palm Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel returning. Yeah, all I'll say is 7-3 to everybody. It's been a pleasure. Apologies again for being late on parade, but it's always nice to hear you lovely lads, and you definitely put back that spirit of adventure. Especially you, Dave. I mean, God, dear. Oh, dear. Fantastic. But I'll see everybody on Wednesday, and let's see how we go. This is Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel, pass now on to Dave. G4 NOW Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel.
Go on. So I wish everyone 73s, and just to say to Mark, you've had 87 views of your video on the ATS20 on YouTube. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Okay, cheers for that, Dave, and cheers for the update. M0 JCF is now going QRT. The Cray Valley 2 metre net officially closed. This frequency is now clear for use. The frequency is clear for use.
Yeah, 73 to you, Mark, for running the net.
Yeah, 7-3s, Mark. You're doing a wonderful job, mate. Da-di-da.
Yeah, and now it's time for the test garden music. Good night, everyone. Bye. Good afternoon, everyone. Morning, afternoon. Where are we? 11:15. Morning. Good morning, everyone. G8YZ out.
Hand me my marimba. I've got a gig. I've got to play against the test card. Smooth jazz. 73 years old, M7IP by out.